everything we do from the side control is going to be dependent on the positioning of the bottom person's arms, if we're talking about arm locks, okay? So in this first one I want to review is his arm is towards his legs, like this, okay? In a bottom position. So when I'm holding the side control position, I didn't necessarily get the underhook just yet, I've just passed the legs. So what I'm going to do with my lead arm is just cross it over, and I'll swim this underneath his shoulder, as such. Now I want to isolate his shoulder. I know his arm can only move from the elbow down and not from the shoulder up, okay? So what I'm going to do from here is lean on to my top leg, which is the leg that's closest to his head. And now I'm going to get a hold of his wrist and almost simultaneously grab my own, as such. When I have this grip, his arm is in a V, all right, like a 45-degree angle. I want to create a 90-degree angle. So the trick to this is to drop my elbow to the ground beside his body, as such. When I do this, I've just created that 90-degree angle I was looking for. Now I'll switch my position and bring my knees off the mat. The reason why I bring my knees off the mat is because I want to bring one foot to this position, just like the kesa position. Do you see what this does? It elevates his shoulder off the mat. And now there's only one thing left, is he's going to try to escape by sitting me up. So I'll bring my opposite foot in front of his head, and now I can finish the Kimura lock. So I'm here, I bring my arm across and underneath his upper arm. Now I lead on so I have space to see what I'm doing here, and try not to just grab the wrist first, because he's going to know what's up and he's going to start to extend away. Now I can't reach my wrist. So when in this position, a lot of times he just thinks I'm just controlling the side mount. I'm going to grab and simultaneously hold on to my own wrist. Now I need to bring my forearm to the ground, shift my weight towards his head. This elevates the shoulder off the mat, and bring my opposite leg over and finish the shoulder lock. The reason why we want to do this as opposed to slide as a paintbrush is when I bring the Americana in this position, the back of his hand is against the mat. And now this slides very easily like a paintbrush. So I don't need to elevate his body. When I'm working in the opposite direction, now the bottom part of his hand, which is his palm, works against the traction of the ground. So I can't simply just paintbrush from here in the same way. Eventually, there's no more give. So I need to elevate him higher up and bring his hand behind his neck, just like the Kimura we saw from the close guard position. Just an important reminder of why we're doing it in this fashion. In this next position, we're going to attack the near side arm, but this time we're going to hyperextend his elbow, all right? So when they're bent arm locks, such as the Americana and the Kimura, I like to just call them arm locks. We're locking the arm, but technically they're shoulder locks. Now, when we hyperextend the arm, hyperextending the elbow as per se, these are called arm bars. I'm barring his arm, okay? So we're gonna attack the arm bar on the near side, but I'm gonna show you a funky move that I really like to do. So from the side control position, a lot of times what could happen is this arm is going to try to create space by pushing onto your hip to push you away so you can bring his knees in. So what I like to do when this happens is from the position here, I'll switch my hips, connect to his hip to stop this near leg from coming in, and slide back to the modified kesa position. All right, this is referred to honk as a gatame. Now, when I'm in this position, I'm always controlling the arm against my body. This is going to serve two things. Number one, if he tries to move in any direction he wishes, he's going to be stuck. So one is holding this side and one is holding this side. So now if he tries to move away from me, I'm holding on to him. If he tries to move this way, I can push the shoulder. If he tries to scoot his elbow in, I'm also controlling his bicep and tricep. So from this position is a great maintenance position. One more tip from here is don't have any lazy legs. A lot of times people are just holding on to the side like this and leaning onto him. It's not enough. What I need to do is having a good solid base, just like when I side break fall right from here. Now I have something to start to drive my weight into him, all right, which I won't do on Alex, but in reality, you really want to drive that pressure, okay? We're going to talk about the arm lock now. What I'm going to do from here is I'm going to bring this far leg back to position. See how I'm doing this switch? As I do so, I'm also going to pass the far leg just in front of his face here. So I'm going to hide everything that's happening here. And now watch this. I lean back, and I can attack the hyperextension on the elbow. One more time. Let's look at it from this angle. So we're here. He starts to drive the weight to stop me because he wants to recover that guard. Drive the hip, cup, slide up. Now you have a great control position here. Makes it impossible for him to escape if you have a solid base and you're always aware of where your head is positioned, okay? More on that in a future video. For now, we're attacking the arm bar. So the trick is to pinch, almost like a shotgun grip, pinching his wrist against your body. Now, don't try to simply pass your leg. You have to be extra limber to do this. My trick is to bring this leg back as you go forward. And now, you press against the leverage. In the last technique I want to show for this video, we already ended up in this final position. This is called the modified kesa. Now, what happens here is I'm going to start to lose control of his wrist. He brings the wrist away from the armpit. So I didn't have that option anymore. But I'm still here, I'm still controlling, but I'm aware that I just lost my first attack. So I'm going to use my palm and grab his wrist. When I do so, I have to ensure that my lap is underneath his arm. So I go here, and it's nice and trapped. When I bring my leg in against his neck and underneath his shoulder, it serves two things. Number one, it helps isolate my position better, but two, it'll also raise him higher up. So which is great for the next attack. Now I drive this hand down. See the lever point? His shoulder is up, but I'm bringing his wrist down. There's already tension right now. All I need to do very gently from here is trap that wrist. What do we have? The paintbrush effect. That's the Americana. I lock it in to secure it in place. Now very gently, I'm gonna lean and pull the neck up to create tension. As I do so, I'm gonna gently raise my hips. So slowly here, tap, all right? So be very careful and extra cautious when you're trying this for the first time on your training partner, okay? It's a devastating lock. It's just like the Americana, but the difference is when you do a standard Americana from side control or mount, the lever point is only your forearm. So there's only a few inches off the ground, and it takes a little bit more to stretch it out. In this case, you're using the lap, and if you have big legs like I do, that's a big lever point, right? So usually people don't even tap at the bridge. A lot of times I've applied the submission hold and they start to tap before I can actually stretch the arm out, okay? So it's a very devastating hold, so be careful and use it with a lot of caution. One more time, we're here, I lost control of this one, boom. I trap the wrist, I push it as far as it'll go, and now I trap it with my calf. I bring the opposite leg on top to secure the position in place. And now from here, I'll raise his head so he can't bridge away. To relieve tension, he's going to try to push to remove the tension. I'm going to bring this up so now he can't bridge. Now there's a lot of tension. And now all I'll do is drive my hips forward and cause the tap. It just takes this much. You get someone with long arms and very flexible shoulders and you can't bridge. Now what you do is you bring it backwards. See? And that's another trick for you guys. All right, guys, so there you have it. Simple but very efficient arm locks you can do from the side position in a modified kesa. All right, so we hope you enjoyed this video, and
we'll catch you guys in the next video.
Make sure to subscribe.